Hello everyone, welcome again to live session of Manulaw classes. I am Dinesh Kumar and I am former assistant professor of law at Campus Law Center Law Faculty, Delhi University, and presently I am working as an academic head of Manulaw classes. So dear students, in today's session I will discuss with you one of the landmark judgment of Honorable Calcutta High Court, and that is the Dr. Kunal Saha versus the state of West Bengal and others. This case was decided by Honorable Court on 4th April 2022. Before moving to the main discussion part, there is an important announcement for all of you. Admissions are open for 1-year course and 2-year course program at Manulaw classes for the upcoming batch of 2022 and 2023. And all of you may get yourself enrolled with us for getting the best result. For more information, you can dial on the given number, that is 9971444054. Dear students, the date of CLAT examination 2022 is 19 June 2022 and the date of CLAT examination 2023 is 18 December 2022. So wish you all the best and prepare yourself accordingly. So now we come to the facts of this case. So basically what happened in this case? In this case, plaintiff, that is Kunal Saha, wants to seek compensation from the defendant. Defendant here means the state of West Bengal, on the ground of vicarious liability that one of the judges of Honorable High Court has made some remarks against him while he gave the decision in the particular case, and this case was widely published in the media. So this plaintiff considered that the judge of Honorable High Court has committed his defamation. So he brought action against the judges, but he could not get anything. So subsequently he brought action against the state for taking the compensation, and he want to establish the relationship of master and servant between the state and the honorable judge. So this case is very important, and in this case I will discuss with you one of the new aspect which has been recognized by Honorable Court in this case. So starting of this story is that the wife of the plaintiff was ill and she was subsequently died in a hospital. So this plaintiff and his relative brought action against the 3 doctors. Dr. 1, Dr. Sukumar Mukherjee, and Dr. 2nd is Dr. Baidyanath Haldar and Dr. Abani Roy. This action was brought under section 304A of IPC. So the section 304A IPC provides for death caused by rash and negligent act. Death caused by rash and negligent act. Basically section 304A of IPC provides that if a person caused the death of another person by rash and negligent act, then that person is liable for the imprisonment up to 2 years. So in this case it was the contention on the part of the plaintiff that these 3 doctors have acted negligently while they were treating the patient or the wife of the plaintiff. The trial court convicted 2 doctors, namely the Dr. Sukumar Mukherjee and Dr. Baidyanath Haldar, but Dr. Abani Roy was acquitted. So what happened subsequently? These 2 convicted doctors preferred appeal against their conviction in the court of session, but this plaintiff Kunal Saha preferred revision before Honorable High Court of Calcutta for the enhancement of the punishment for the doctor who have been convicted by the court, and plaintiff also wanted that the acquitted doctor Abani Roy should also be convicted. But what happened? Honorable High Court acquitted all the three doctors. Honorable Court confirmed the acquittal of Dr. Abani and reversed the conviction of the other two doctors into the acquittal. Honorable Judge of High Court also made some observations against the plaintiff, and this sad judgment was widely shown in the media. And the name of Honorable Judge was Honorable Justice Gora Chand. So what happened? When Honorable Judge made some observations against the plaintiff, so this plaintiff in this case considered that Honorable Judge has committed his defamation. So he brought action against Honorable Judge under section 500 of IPC. Basically, section 500 of IPC provides the punishment for defamation. So defamation is a crime as well as a civil offense. So I'm not going to discuss the civil aspect of it here. But when he filed the suit against the Honorable Judge, then his suit was dismissed on the ground of limitation, because according to section 468 of CRPC, if an offense is punishable up to 3 years, then the limitation period for that suit is, or for that case is, up to 3 years only. So he filed action, or he brought action against the Honorable Judge after the 3 years period. So his case was barred by the limitation. So when he could not bring action legally against the Honorable Judge, so he brought action against the state of West Bengal, considering the fact that state is vicariously liable for the act of Judge of Honorable High Court. Why he said so? Because he thought that state High Court work on the behalf of the state, so state is vicariously liable. So if any wrong has been committed by the Judge of Honorable High Court, then according to the opinion of this plaintiff, the respective state should also be held liable vicariously for that act. So now the main legal issue before Honorable Court in this case was that whether there exists a master-servant relationship between state and Judge of a High Court. So क्या एक हाई कोर्ट का जज और स्टेट के बीच में मास्टर सर्वेंट की रिलेशनशिप होती है, और सेकंड, if a judge of high court has done something wrong, whether for that wrong a state can be held vicariously liable. So this was the main issue in this case. So in this case, the contention on the petitioner was that since when he made the complaint to the state that the state should take the action against the judge, so his first case was dismissed on the ground of that no cause of action has arisen, and secondly that he did not file the case within the specified limitation period. Secondly, when he brought action against the Honorable Judge and he made a complaint to the state, so state did not take any actions against the judge. So he thought that it is the mistake on the part of the state. It is the mistake on the part of state. So state is vicariously liable to pay the compensation to the plaintiff in the given situation. So this was the contention on the part of the petitioner. Now we come to the contention on the part of respondent. Respondent means state of West Bengal. State of West Bengal says that there is no relationship of master and servant between the state and the judge of a high court. So the concept of vicarious liability is not applicable here in the given situation. Second contention on the part of state was that section 77 of IPC, read with section 3 clause 1 of Judges Protection Act 1985, gives immunity to judges for action taking in their judicial capacity. So basically section 77 of IPC provides that if a judge has acted judicially or in his judicial capacity, then no action can be brought against that judge. Similar immunity has been given by the section 3 clause 1 of the Judges Protection Act 1985. So now this was the contention on the part of this state or the respondent, and that was the contention, or the first contention was on the part of the plaintiff. Now we come to the final decision of Honorable Court. So Honorable Court in this case upheld the contention of the defendant, that is the state of West Bengal, and held that the concept of vicarious liability is not applicable in the given situation. Means there is no master-servant relationship between the judge of a high court and the state. Similarly, section 77 of IPC, read with section 3 clause 1 of the Judges Protection Act 1985, gives the immunity to the judges for their act, whatever act have been done by them in their judicial capacity. So finally Honorable Court held that in the given situation, state cannot be vicariously held liable for the act of a judge of a high court. So because the judge of high court is not the servant of the state within the meaning or for the purpose of the definition of vicarious liability. So that's all for today, my dear students. I will come again with the next landmark assessment. Till then, thank you very much. Goodbye.